feeling. Bring back that 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 feeling. Bring back that.
Welcome to Dance Music Production, Volume 1, Dance Floor. This is perhaps our most highly anticipated DVD release so far, since our initial release had to be withdrawn after only a few sales. For those wondering why, it was down to nothing more than a copyright issue. Although we were granted copyright initially, the terms continued to change throughout the production. Then, when it actually came to the release, the terms became just so ridiculous and entangled, we just couldn't carry on. So I'd like to apologise to all those who were patiently waiting for the first DVD only for it to be withdrawn within a matter of days. And as perhaps some consolation, here we are again with a reissue and re-release of Dance Floor, this time with a different mix. Now, the reason the first DVD had to be withdrawn, and who knows, perhaps this one too, is because for the Dance Floor DVDs, I've always wanted to look at the techniques behind building a French house track. Now, it's always difficult to encapsulate any genre, so when I say French house, it could equally mean disco house or funky house, but whatever you want to call it, what we're going to do is we're going to look at building a track in a similar vein of the Crydamore releases, Daft Punk, and I suppose to some extent Eric Prydz with his release of Valerie. Now, this type of music used to be restricted just to the clubs, but more and more records of this nature are breaking out of the clubs and starting to storm the public's ears, so we thought, well, why not make a DVD that concentrates on just that? Now, if you know the genre, which by buying this DVD I certainly hope you do, its foundations are based on sampling another popular artist's record, and to be honest, there's quite simply no way around that. If you own some of the previous DMP releases, you'll probably be aware that the aim of these DVDs is to show you how it's done professionally, to show you in a real world situation how you can work with music to a professional standard. And basically what that means is that for this DVD, I'm not only going to have to sample a famous artist, but I'm also going to be working entirely live, just as I do with my remixing seminars. Now basically what that means is that right now I have absolutely no idea who we're going to sample, how this track is going to evolve, or even how we're going to get through an arrangement yet, or actually if this is going to work at all. And even if it does work, I don't even know if we're going to get permission to release this. Nonetheless, my hope is that by doing this, and of course provided we can secure some kind of copyright permission from whoever I sample, you'll be able to see how I approach a French house track, how I find a sample, how you can contort it, the best way to write drums around it, how to work with the bass, how it can be arranged, and then finally, I think if we can squeeze it on, how we can mix it as well. Now obviously the purpose of this DVD is to show you some of the techniques used by professional artists to produce this particular genre of music, but it isn't the be all and end all. The music is always about artists, and that's you, pushing the boundaries of music. So the purpose of this DVD isn't to copy my every move, it's basically take my ideas, my techniques, and adopt them into your own way of working. The purpose of this DVD is not to follow along, but just to watch and learn. Just remember that if it sounds right, then it probably is. I should also mention as well that because of the nature of this DVD, much of this is going to have to be unscripted, and I hope that you can understand that that's going to be totally unavoidable. As I mentioned, I have absolutely no idea of what I'm going to sample yet, let alone what the final track's going to sound like, so I think what we'll do is we'll move on there and we'll start our track, and the first thing we need to do is basically find a sample, and finding a sample requires a good idea of knowing what to sample. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll look at some popular examples, and with that we can basically examine what works and how we can use that theory when we look at searching out samples to build a track. So let's now move on to our first session, and we'll look at some examples of sampling in-house.